Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This is your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Beware, lest ye also being led away with the error of the wicked. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called Beware, lest ye also being led away with the error of the wicked. All right. And the scriptures warn us, about the things that we see, and it's a constant, right? You have, all these different camps just going off. You still got IUIC talking about, the MOTB is sin. It's just one thing after another, and the scriptures, tell you and warn you, about these things, right? So I just want to go over a couple of scriptures. Lord's will, this is edifying. All right. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 20. It says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. All right. The NLT says, look to the Most High's instructions and teachings. People who contradict his word are completely in the dark, right? And there's a lot of people who are completely in the dark, a lot of them are doing it, deceivingly, right? Others, it talks about it. What is that? Let me see. Let's go to 2 Timothy real quick. 2 Timothy 3. And verse number 13, right? It says, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived, right? It says, but continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and has been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. Okay? Don't let somebody try to take you off your post. All right? Off of standing firm. All right? What is that? The book of matter of fact, I'll go to it a little later. Salakia. I'll go to that later. Right? But it says, when we read it in the NLT, it says, but evil people and impostors will flourish. They will deceive others and will themselves be deceived. It says, but you must remain faithful to the things you have been taught. They are true, for you can trust those who taught you. All right. Because the Lord has set up, teachers and prophets to give you this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And you see, you can see now clearly, the division that is amongst. You can see that those who are set up to deceive, right? And Yahawashi talked about that, the book of Matthew, right, 15 and verse number I'll start at verse number I'll just start at verse number 14. It says, let them alone, they be blind, leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. All right, and you see all that. You see that happening right now, right? You have people who literally, they're not, being students and trying to really, dig and understand, this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They're just being followers, right? And if you're a blind following a blind, hey, eventually you're going to fall into a ditch, right? Because the blind is not going to know his way, and neither is the people following, right? They're ignorantly blind, all right? And ultimately, the Lord is doing that to them, right? What is that? I think that's in the book of Job. Let's get that real quick. Because it said, matter of fact, when was that? Was that 2 Timothy we were just at? Yeah. Let's go back to that. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse number 13. It says, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. All right. And ultimately, what? You go to the book of Job, chapter 12 and verse number 16. Start at verse 15. It says, behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. All right. NOT says, yes, strength and wisdom are his. Right. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Deceivers and deceived are both in his power. Okay. So with this, waxing worse and worse, right? And guess what? Though it says deceiving and being deceived, all right? And it's all of the Lord. Remember, the Lord is blinding the hearts of many people and is blinding their eyes that they can't see, okay? Because it's not for everybody to get, all right, at the end of the day. And what you have to understand is when you're looking at these folks and they just can't seem to get it, and they want to be contrary to the things that's going on, the scriptures tell you, what is that? Romans 16 and 17, it says, now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. All right? Because you have all these people now that they're coming up with their own new doctrines, they're just making it up every week, right? And these are the things that the scriptures tell you are going to happen. All right. It says, and now in the NLT, make one more appeal, my dear brother and sisters, watch out for people who cause divisions and upset people's faith by teaching things contrary to what they have been taught. Stay away from them. All right. Galatians 1. The perversion of the gospel, right? Galatians chapter 1, verse 6, it says, I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Hamashiach unto another gospel, which is not another gospel, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Hamashiach. It says, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. As we said before, so say I again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. Okay? It says, for do I now persuade men or the Most High? Or do I seek to please men? If I yet please men, I should not be a servant of Hamashiach. All right? Verse 10 in the NLT, it says, obviously I'm not trying to win approval of people, but of the Most High. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be a servant. I would not be Hamashiach's servant. Okay? And you have a lot of people they're trying to please men, right? And they're not servants of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? And ultimately the Lord is is deceiving them to deceive other people, right? And you see a lot of these big, huge, like IUIC, you got, all these numbers, right? Because the Lord doesn't want all these numbers. The Lord is only looking for a few, right? But people look at that as, oh man, they got so many people. That must be it, right? That's the same that's the same mentality that people have with Christianity, right? And what does Yahawashi say? Narrow is the way, and few that find it. Just paraphrasing. Broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, right? But narrow basically is the path. And there are far and few that actually find it. Okay, so if that was the case, you have billions of so-called Christians on the earth, right? You have in these large camps, you have all these people, Kwam Yashala, but ultimately the Lord is not dealing with. The Lord is dealing with a small number, all right? A small number. Let's go to Matthew, right? Because Yahawashi talked, it's the same people. Same people back on the earth again, doing the same thing, This is verse number 13, right? This is Matthew chapter 23, verse 13. It says, "But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men." It says, "For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that entering in to go in." Right? When you're telling people that you're going to hell, and you're going to burn forever. When you're telling people, that Revelation 13 and 16 is talking about sin, right? You're shutting that kingdom up for people. You're trying to close that gate on people. All right. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites." It says, "For ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more child of hell than yourself." Okay? Why? Because you'll 12 tribes worldwide, right? Fly your little purple plane. I don't know if you got a purple plane, but you'll fly your little plane and you'll do your little commercials about how many cities around the world that you visited and this mission and that mission, right? And then all you do is go around and teaching, Black Jesus, right? Jesus Christ is just, you'll go and push that doctrine, right? Deceiving people even further. All right. And that's exactly what they do, right? It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, ye make him twofold more child of hell than yourselves." Right? You just basically replicating and making them even worse. You gotta put your purple shirt on with your fringes out. You got to buy it from our thing. You got to get a preset package. You got to do this. That's right. The whole thing, right? Telling people, that the full moon is actually the new moon, right? I mean, just madness, man, right? And then people not knowing better, right? Oh yeah, that's it, right? And then they try to make it fancy because you put in the music and the sound effects, put in the sound effects and all that, and oh yeah, that must be right, yeah, because he just put the boom sound effects in there, right? This word doesn't need all that. It don't need music. It don't need it. All it needs is the words of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. At the end of the day, right? These words, what does it say? Hebrews 4 and 12, it says, "For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. All right, these scriptures will cut deep and find out, all the way into your mind, to your soul, to find out, oh, is he really about this? Are you not? Right? Are you really in this thing or you not? And this word will cut you deep, right? And will have you running. Me and the brothers, we always talk about it. You bring out Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and you watch people just run and skedaddle and get the hell up out of there. All right, because this word is sharp. When the word comes out, people just start disappearing. And that's what we was understanding. Only the sheep are going to hear the voice, right? We used to be right out in the hood, in the middle of the hood, right? With the speaker blasting, bringing out the word. And all of a sudden, you had people hanging out and everything. That next thing you know, everybody's gone away. Everybody got up and left because they don't want to hear the word. You know what I mean? And only a few are actually going to come and be drawn to it. Okay? Because it's not for the masses. All right? Let's see. Let's go to 2 Peter. Let's go to 2 Peter. All right. 2 Peter 3. And let's go to verse number 17. Yep, let's go to verse 17. It says, "Ye therefore, beloved, seeing now these things before, beware lest ye also, being led away with the error of the wicked, fall from your own steadfastness." Okay? In the NLT, right? It says, "I am warning you ahead of time, dear friends, be on guard so that you will not be carried away by the errors of these wicked people," right? "And lose your own secure footing." Okay? And you have to stay grounded in this thing, right? You have to, stick to the true doctrine. And the scriptures tell you, that they will, in the last days, they will not endure sound doctrine. All right? The scriptures tell you clearly. What is that? Isaiah 33 and verse number 6, right? It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is his treasure." All right? NOT says, "In that day, he will be your sure foundation." All right? So you're not slipping, you're not falling, you're on that solid rock, that solid foundation that Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi has built, all right, through the men, that he has chosen. Okay? It says, "In that day, he will be your sure foundation, providing a rich store of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi will be your treasure." Okay? Because those are going to be the ones who are going to hold on to the faith. All right? We know in these latter times, people's faith is not going to be a lot of faith out there. All right? People are from the things that people are going to see, they're going to start to lose faith. All right? And this is the time where, Yahawashi said your faith should be like a mustard seed. All right? Start low and it's going to grow and be bigger, right? While everybody else's is going to shrink, okay? Because they don't have that true foundation, right? Because they weren't, rooted, right? And they weren't standing firm, right? In the name of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? And this 100% truth, this 100% doctrine in these last days, all right? And you're going to see, and it's just going to continue to get worse and worse, and people are going to be bugged out, right? They're going to just, instead of preaching the word, what are they going to do? They're going to go out to Mexico and, talk about how, great the scenery looks out in this, while all hell is starting to break loose. Like, it's just madness, right? But the scriptures tell you that these things were going to happen. And that's why you have to stay rooted and stay firm and watch out for these, these evil seducers. Okay, and mark them which cause division among you. Okay. I think I brought that out. Yeah, I brought that out. So I just wanted to do this quick lesson, right? Just be mindful, continue to watch. All right, continue to watch and study and continue in the doctrine that you've been taught, this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, because ultimately the Lord is shaking things up, and if you're not grounded, if you're not rooted, you're gonna slip and fall. All right, carried away by every wind of doctrine. All right, at the end of the day. All right, so I just want to do this lesson, like I said, Lord's will. This is edifying, right? Continue to let the wisdom and knowledge be your stability in these times and the strength of salvation. All right, and remember, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay, so with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and mighty Shalom to the 144,000 men and to the rest of the elect. Stay diligent, stay focused, stay grounded, stay rooted. All right, in this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and this true doctrine in these last days. All right, and with that, I'll say Shalom.